Oh god, it's a little flat. Oh, that's disappointing. Oh, I wish my drink wasn't flat. Oi, minute, and welcome, my name is Yuusha Anime, and welcome back to... I think this is now part 77 of The Fruit of Grisaia. Now, we are at the point where this is going to be my very longest Let's Play of all time on my channel. Because, even though W Happiness, which I did play, it was essentially a separate game from the main game. So, this right now is going to be my longest Let's Play of all time on my channel. But anyway, enough about that and me getting all tingly, remembering all my past and that lot. We are going to get back onto this, and we are going to find out more about Matsushima Michiru's past and the other girl, which is the name of this chapter. So guys, if you're ready, I sure as hell am. So, the two of us laughed for a very long time. Very, very long time. Wait, do I need to move my face down? Yeah, let me move my face down here for this bit. Alright, there we go. I probably should have done that before I started this. Alright. So, the two of us laughed for a very, very long time. Long enough that the colour of the sky changed above us. Long enough that I could almost believe the whole season had passed by. Oh, wow. When her laughter finally came to an end, the girl rose shakily to her feet, both hands clutching her belly. She opened her mouth to speak, but at first could only manage a few high-pitched little giggles. She's cute. Yeah, that feeling of me wanting to die. Yeah, it's completely gone now. So that was it after all. The girl had been planning to die. I knew that much from the start, but when she came out and said it so bluntly, I was still slightly taken aback. Oh wow. Onjin. Mm-hmm. I didn't deserve to be thanked by anyone. Why was she saying this to me? Yeah, she's gonna cry again. Yeah. I like this girl. I'm guessing, was this the personality she was taking on? The girl wrapped her hand around my neck and drew me close after briefly petting my head. She hugged me tightly against her. Oh. Damn, that was a cool little line right there. Her chest had a sweet milky odor. I'm sorry? I'm sorry? Had a sweet milky odor. I have many questions. I have many questions. I'd never smelled another girl's body like this before. I didn't know what to do. About anything, really. It was all too much. My mind just couldn't keep up. Huh. Oh. Yep, 親友. Aww. Michiru was so quiet, it's weird. I had to convince myself there was no place for me in this world, but when I felt the life pulsing in her chest, I found myself able to breathe easily again. She smelled sweet, and her body was soft and warm. I couldn't remember the last time that I'd been so close to another person. Oh. Contact with other people had always seemed so scary, and it really was scary, to be honest. But at the same time, how can I put this? More than anything else, it felt like someone was gently tickling my heart. Oh. So this is the person you needed that whole time. I returned home that day feeling as if I'd been reborn, probably because of my unusually cheerful expression. My parents struck up a conversation with me for the first time in a while. I wasn't able to explain very well, but I did tell them I'd gotten to know somebody at school. Oh. I didn't say I made a friend, let alone a best friend. After all, there was still a chance it had all been a delusion on my part. You think you've made up an imaginary friend? Nah, I doubt that. Maybe tomorrow everything would be right back to the way it was. Nope. That would be way too sad, right? Better not get my hopes up. My parents said, I see. Good for you. Mixed emotions on their faces. Not that it bothered me much. That night, I ate my dinner slightly earlier than usual and slipped into bed before my normal time. For once, I actually wanted tomorrow to arrive a little faster, so she had actually found her anchor. She had found her emotional anchor, which was this friend. But in school the next day, I found everything the same. It wasn't like I had changed after all. I was still just myself. Well, yeah, in your class, but what about the friend? Nobody in my class even tried to talk to me. That morning, I thought I might be able to keep a bit of a smile on my face, but in the end, my expression was gloomier than ever. Oh? Maybe that girl I met the day before was a sign from God? A little cosmic meddling to keep me from killing myself at the wrong time. Could have just said so from the start then. I nearly misunderstood. Nearly thought I had found some place where I belonged. Nearly thought it was okay for me to live. Nearly started thinking like a normal person. Yikes. That was a close one. I almost forgot what my tutors taught me so thoroughly. Yeah, that had to be it. I didn't have a best friend. That was all a dream. Dreams aren't worth it, are they? You end up feeling really tired when you wake up. Nah, she's real. After school, I stood from my seat before anyone else and beelined for the exit. For now, I just wanted to get out of that place, but the rooftop had become frightening, so I couldn't go back there. Why? I wanted to run away, but I couldn't figure out where to go. All I knew was that I didn't want to be where I was. Oh, when I slid open the door and dashed out into the hallway, there was a harsh thump and everything went black for a moment. Did she run into the girl? In my haste, I'd run headlong into someone. Somehow squeezing out the words, I turned to run. But before I could take another step, someone firmly seized me by the back of my uniform. I reflexively dropped by my bag and shielded my head against the blow that would follow. This was a deeply ingrained habit from my childhood. Oh. They hit her in the face? Damn. This sucks. Emotionally, this sucks. I really do get this, and that's why I hate it. I hate it. The nausea and dizziness would sometimes last for hours. If nothing else, I wanted to avoid that. But the violence I feared didn't arrive. On the contrary, my captor bent down and picked up the bag I'd thrown on the ground. Yeah, it's her. It was the first time in a while somebody had bothered to call me that. A silly thought flashed through my head. Oh, so that's what my name sounds like. Dom Dom? You mean like udon? What the hell's Dom Dom? I'm sorry. What is that? In front of my eyes was the girl from my dream. I was definitely awake, but somehow I was dreaming. So you still think she's not real? No. I couldn't get myself to speak properly, so I shook my head vigorously from left to right. No, nothing at all. And I kept right on doing it until at the last the girl reached out and caught my cheeks in her hands and to hold me still. This is adorable. I love their relationship so far. Aww. So this is where the cool persona came from, possibly. It makes sense. She led me by the hand, and for the first time in my life, I entered a so-called fast food restaurant. The complicated menu and colourful photographs left me lightheaded, and I didn't have the first idea how to order. After stowing in confusion and panic for a long while, I tugged on her sleeve. Yeah, I think it is. I quietly nodded my head. She just watched me for a moment, then laughed in amusement. A little later, a small tray sat on our surprisingly cramped little table, bearing the hamburger and fries the girl ordered for me. Wait, she ordered it for us? It felt like she was really close. Eating a meal with my face so near to someone else's made me kind of nervous. I could feel my stomach churning. What was I going to do if I threw up? Oh wow, okay. Aww.
どうかした？これ写真と全然違う。ぺたんこ。
Petanco.
ハンバーガー？本当に面白いね。え、面白い？うん、面白い。そうだ、あなたクラスメートに何て呼ばれてるか知ってる？私
Wait,
何
what?
か言われてるの。
Wait, they do?
そう、言われてる。しかも悪口。幽霊って呼ばれてんの。
Damn.
笑っちゃうでしょ？
They call her a literal ghost. That is what Yuri is, or a spirit. Like a dead girl. God damn.
なんでよって思ったから、そんなこと言うのよしなさいって言っておいたわよ。
Oh! She chatted happily on, swinging a fry back and forth. I had no idea how to respond. I mean, I was surprised to know they bothered to badmouth me, but I was even more shocked she told them to stop. Why was this person being so nice to me? Yeah, I mean, that would be the question that you'd have, considering that you was being, well, you was mad at them for trying to off themselves and you couldn't do it yourself.
しかもあなたお嬢らしいじゃん。だからってファーストフード初めてってちょっと浮世離れしすぎじゃない？お嬢。
お嬢。
そう、お嬢。ところでさ、携帯ある？赤外線やろうよ、赤外線。
IR, is that supposed to be... What is that supposed to be? IR. Oh wait, no, isn't that infrared? For how they exchange contacts, because they used to do it with infrared rays on the phones, if I remember correctly. So then they can get the contact info. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she doesn't know what it is.
それは今度にしよう。ひとまず、今日は食べなさい食べなさい。ここは私のおごりだから。そのぺったんこたーんとお食べ。どうせ私にはこれぐらいしかおごれないんだし。
Okay, I like this girl. She's cool. I picked up the miserably flat little hamburger from its bed of wrapping paper and took a large bite. To my surprise, a strong and vibrant flavor instantly filled my mouth. It might not have looked anything like the photo, but it actually tasted really good.
どうだ、美味しいじゃろ？美味しい。なんで泣いてんの？謎なんだけど。美味しくて？美味しくて泣いてんの？それは大げさでしょ。ゾウさんも大喜びだな、これ。
It's a bit of an overstatement if I've seen one. The hamburger was warm, the girl in front of me was kind, and I couldn't stop crying. Not surprisingly, she looked a little astounded, but even so she laughed. No matter what I did, she'd laugh. After that, she started coming by every day after school, inviting me along to all sorts of different places. I guess she must have found my complete cluelessness kind of entertaining. One day it was karaoke, the next an arcade. The day after that, something else entirely. I got to see a lot of new places and experienced a lot of new things.
ねえねえ、ここに書いてある初プリって何？
Hatsupuri? Like as in like a first pudding? But that doesn't make sense, but that would be pudding. She laughed when I asked that question too. More than anything else, she was a girl who laughed a lot, and the places I went to with her were always glittering with vivid rainbows of light. Oh damn. When I went back home, after we said goodbye, my room looked stale and dismal by comparison. It was like falling into a broken down monochrome world. Whoa, nice wording. More and more I spent my time impatiently counting down the hours until the next outing, wishing she'd swoop down and take me out there. I remember getting off the train with her at some station I'd never visited before, and buying matching pencil boxes in a store I'd never known existed. After anguishing over my choice for dozens of minutes, I bought her a small hairpin as a present, and got a pouch in return. We traded hair scrunchies, ate ice cream together. The days rolled like one unbroken dream. Her email address and phone number were recorded in my cell phone. Oh, this is wholesome hours. I was too scared to send her a message or dial her number, but for some reason just looking at those characters on the screen would bring a smile to my face. One day the two of us were on the rooftop after school, gazing leisurely at the setting sun. The girl spoke to me in a quiet voice as the wind blew through her hair.
みちるは聞いてこないよね。
Yeah, about why she wanted to jump, right?
どうして飛び降りようとしてたかってこと。
She was always smiling, so I was taken aback to see her looking so serious all of a sudden. And more importantly, that completely unexpected question left me thoroughly flustered. I'm even more confused on which one's the real Michiru now. Because I know the other personality is definitely supposed to be this girl. But I think she does the tsundere attitude on purpose to try and act her best to be like her or live like her. But the very shy, very quiet one's got to be her Michiru herself, of course. But it's just getting it in your head, you know. Just remembering like how much energy she normally has to see what it's like here.
だって死にたかったんでしょ。それが全てじゃない。それ以上何を聞くの？そりゃそうだね。飛び降りの理由なんてそれしかないもんね。ミチルは本当に変な子だ。そうかな。そんなことないけど。私はね、いろいろな人にいろいろなことを聞かれるんだ。進路がどう、彼氏がどう、バイトがどう、手の傷がどう、もうよくわかんないよ。もっとシンプルな世界で生きていたいと思う。
Well, reality's a bitch. What can we say? I didn't really understand what she was saying, so I listened very carefully. I hoped that if I listened carefully enough, I'd be able to pick up at least a little.
結局さ、人間って一人だよね。私のことを心から大事にしてくれる人なんてどこにもいないんだ。
Ooh,
最後にはみんな消えていくよね。
That's a heavy thing to be saying right then. Wow, okay. I wanted to say it wasn't true, but I couldn't manage to speak.
嫌われたくないな。だったら先に私から嫌ってやりたい。私から先に消えてしまいたい。なんてね。
Oh, okay.
ああ、ごめんね。行かなきゃ。行ってらっしゃい。みちる。何？
That is a loud
好きだよ。
What? With those words, she playfully pretend kissed me on the cheek. My face went red as a lobster, and I made a little strange noise.
冗談。またね。
Aww. Aww. The evening sun was just sinking below the horizon as she left, still laughing. I just stood there for a while as darkness settled over the rooftop. That cell phone was always ringing. I didn't like it. Every time she was called off somewhere, she'd be quiet and subdued for a long time afterward. Her smiles looked forced. So she also has some troubles going on in her life as well. I was worried somebody might be doing cruel things to her, but I wasn't able to ask. Wait a minute, I forgot to put my damn necklace. Forget to put on all my jewellery. God dang it. Right. Sometimes I noticed nasty bruises on her arms and legs. Even her face every once in a while. Oh no. You're both very similar. She'd always just laugh it off. It's okay, I'm fine, don't worry. I knew it wasn't okay at all. But I was afraid that asking her would pop the bubble, destroy what we had, so I kept quiet. Even then, I knew I was being a coward. She had pulled me up from the bottom of the sea, so shouldn't I return the favour? Take her hand, like she did for me? The question tormented me for a very long time. But there was no way I could do what she had done. I was still a piece of trash. It was only thanks to her that I could still laugh a little. It was only thanks to her that I had found a little happiness. I couldn't allow myself to misunderstand. This was a temporary world, a dream I'd wake up from eventually. Dang. Lingering alone on the rooftop, I gripped the cold metal handrail tightly. I still didn't have the courage to make the short journey to the other side of that fence. It's all about the side of that fence. Always about the side of that fence. For a few days after answering that phone call, my friend didn't attend school. Oh no. I was afraid something bad might have happened to her. Just like when I was a child, I knelt by my windowsill and whispered countless prayers.
どうか守ってあげてください。
You're praying for her.
彼女が笑っていられるようにしてください。
Oh my goodness. At school, I would hesitate in my classroom at the end of the day, thinking she might appear in a doorway like always to drag me off to play. But I was a ghost in that class. I didn't dare make myself conspicuous. I reluctantly trudged up to the roof and waited for her, but no matter how patiently I waited, she never came. There was nothing but the steady passage of time. I did nothing. Nothing but draw beneath in a monochrome world. Oh, hello. One day somebody called my cell phone from a withheld number. I was scared to pick it up, but thinking it just might be her, I gathered up all the courage I could muster and pressed the answer button. Who is this? On the other side of the line, I heard someone breathing harshly as if in pain. I'm sorry? Maybe it was nothing more than a random prank call from a stranger. But in my mind's eye, I saw her on the other end, the person I cared about more than anyone else in the world. And I remembered her words on the roof that day. I mean, when you get right down to it, we're all alone, right? It's not like anybody really cares about me from the bottom of their heart. Everybody disappears in the end. Don't want to be hated, so I'll hate first. Before they can leave me, I want to disappear or whatever. No, don't tell me she's to try and do it again. Back then, I wasn't able to give her a proper response. I had left so many things unsaid. I decided to convey those feelings to whoever this might be.
どうして一人だなんて思うの？ちゃんとあなたのこと友達だって思って大切にしてる人がいるよ。それなのにどうして一人でどこかに行こうとするの？あなたは置いていかれるのがどんなに辛いか分かってないんだ。だから勝手にどこかに行こうとしちゃうんだ。失うことは当たり前だよ。誰かに嫌われることだって特別なことじゃない。私、あなたのこと大好きだよ。だからどこにも行かないで。もしあなたが自分のことを不幸せだと思うなら、これから幸せになろう。ここに戻ってきて、これからまた一緒に生きよう。
The person on the other end of the line hung up without a single word. Felt as though I had been abandoned, left behind. I squeezed my cell phone tightly in my hand. Even now, I don't know who called me that day. Oh wow. It had to have been her, right? The next time I saw my friend was more than 2 weeks later. By that point, even sitting through class had become unbearably agonizing. I would spend the entire day on the roof waiting for her. And one day, completely out of the blue, she appeared before me once again. But what is with her attendance? Oh my god! What happened to you? What happened? I couldn't say a word. There wasn't a trace remaining of the girl who had always laughed so happily. Her school uniform was tattered and torn. Her hair looked like it had been hacked with a knife. What happened to you? Her face, too, was full of bruises. Numerous wounds as cruel as anything the tutors had inflicted on me were openly visible even in the most conspicuous of places. Oh, no. Yikes. Something terrible must have happened. Something so terrible I didn't even want to imagine it. And it must have lasted a horribly long time. Just like that, there were tears in my eyes. God didn't protect her. I couldn't protect her.
大丈夫。これは私が望んだことだから。
Oh, she's in an abusive relationship.
彼に捨てられたくなくてしたことだから。
You don't want to be in a relationship with him, do you? You don't. So, it's sexual abuse, is it? Yikes! I hadn't asked a question, but she answered it anyway. Those clipped vague words weren't enough for me to understand what had really happened to her, but I knew she was lying. I knew many sad, horrible things must have happened. She couldn't possibly have wanted to happen. I slowly approached her, then wrapped my arms around her trembling body. It surprised even me. I hadn't expected myself to do any such thing.
ありがとう。
She's...
ミッチェルは優しいね。そんなことない。 そんなことあるよ。あなたは優しい子だよ。ねえ、噂は聞いてるでしょ？あれって、その通りなんだ。
Wait, what do you mean? Hold on.
まったく、バカだと思うよ。笑っていいよ。
In the classroom, my friend had become the subject of rumors. My classmate said she gotten to know a man decades older than her over the internet, a man with a wife and children. They said he treated her like his mistress. Ooh, no. They said something about photos of her and that man getting scattered around the internet. They said he'd done terrible things to her. But none of it mattered to me. No matter what happened, it didn't change the fact that she was my best friend.
バカじゃないよ。私はバカだけど。
そうだね。こんな私と仲良くしてくれるなんてバカかもね。
No, it's not
そんな
that.
ことないもん。
私、学校で嫌われてるんだ。友達もいないの。でもね、誰も相手にしてくれないから、あなたと友達になったわけじゃないからね。あなたのことがいいなって思ったから、友達になったんだからね。それだけは本当。でも信じてくれないよね。こんな私だもんね。
What have you lied about? What have you lied about? I wanted to say, of course I know that, but my voice failed me. It felt as though a chunk of cardboard had wedged itself in my throat and I couldn't force out even a tiny squeak.
私はミチルのことを親友だってちゃんと思ってる。ごめんね。こんなに汚れた友達で。こんなんで本当にごめんね。
She must have circumstances. She must have. Because I don't think she wants to do this at all. I think she got herself into something that wasn't very good, or maybe she... This is just what I'm thinking right now. It's possible she was trying to get extra money maybe for something around her family. And then it turned into a whole blackmail situation with the person that she'd done it with. But at the same time, she shouldn't have done it. It's like a remorse, a horrid remorse. That's just me speculating at the moment, but that's the energy that I just got from her saying that. I wanted to tell her that she wasn't filthy, but I couldn't say a word. All I could do was hug her tightly.
私、彼のことが
Oh,
好
she
き。
loves him.
彼がしろって言えばどんなことでもした。奥さんと別れてくれるなんて、そんなの最初から嘘だって分かってた。
Love is a horrible thing sometimes.
話さなくていい。大丈夫だよ。
殴られても平気だった。何回でも頑張った。でももう限界。だってあの人はもう
It's reached its limit.
私のこと好きじゃないから。
Don't think he ever loved you. He cheated on his wife. And he decided... you fell in love with somebody that was married. Okay, it wasn't that. It wasn't that then. She gave me another protecting kiss on my cheek. I closed my eyes and returned the gesture. Watching me, she smiled just a little. Grisaia uniform danced in the wind like feathers, fallen from the wing of a bird. She put her hands on the fence and swung herself gracefully over the other side. No! Don't do it.
もう私限界。あの人が私に興味のない世界になんて、あの人が存在しない世界になんていたくない。
This is why I have a problem with people being in rushed relationships, especially if you're young. This is why you don't go with a younger person, of course, because they're still developing, they're still learning what they are. This just sucks. This sucks. This sucks. Love is either the greatest weapon or the greatest thing in existence. Straddling the border between roof and sky, standing on the line that divided this world from the next, she spoke to me. A single thought ran through my dazed brain. It's just like the first time we've met.
先に行くね。
No, don't. I wanted to say, I'll come with you. You're not the only one, you know. I'm not interested in the world without you in it. So if you go in, I'll come along. Just don't leave me behind. Don't leave me alone. I wanted to tell her. You joked that you loved me once, but I really do love you. That's the reason I'm still alive today. I wanted her to know, but I couldn't speak or move. My body felt like it was encased in concrete. I couldn't lift a single finger.
さよなら、みちる。
Did she actually... She actually did jump. Yikes. I wanted to say the words, we're best friends. Aren't we? Let's die together. But instead I just watched her in silence like a complete idiot. See? I was right. I'm the stupid one after all. Oh! Fucking hell, that noise. I didn't know what to do. I just cowered and then I tried to scramble over the rail to see her, to see the end. But I couldn't do it. No matter what, I couldn't get myself over that fence. She never wanted to die at all. Literally discovered that the hard way. I could feel my feet giving way underneath me. I couldn't even keep myself upright. That ambulance was quick. Why hadn't I died with her? I was right from the start. There was never a place for me here. Screwed up big this time, didn't I? Shouldn't have let myself think I could become a normal person. Shouldn't have thought I could find something like happiness. Does she feel the guilt that she was never able to jump with her? Or the fact that she feels responsible for not stopping her from killing herself? In the end it vanishes, the bubble pops. In that case, it would have been better never to have got my hopes up in the first place. Just like my parents stopped expecting anything of me. I should have stopped expecting anything from the world. I heard the wail of a siren and a chorus of horrified screams from far away. And then I fainted, my body still twined awkwardly around that fence. Whoa, just before I lost consciousness, I heard a sound like the click of a television set falling silent. I don't know if that was a hallucination or not, but I heard it clearly. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed. It seemed I'd been unconscious for quite a long time. Normally there should have been police waiting at my bed to question me, but Dad took care of all that. Probably less out of concern for me than out of his desire to keep this troublesome situation from dragging on. I thought they had discharged me soon enough, but I discovered that my chronic chest pain had grown dramatically more intense. My body was no longer physically capable of enduring a normal life. So this was the incident that set her off. The only friend she ever had went on ahead of her. I'm going to have to put a little disclaimer saying this episode's got some dark themes. You've been warned. Wow. The doctor said the shock of losing a close friend may well have advanced the progression of the disease. But I didn't really know if that was true. Either way, the pain in my heart was now so agonizing it could at times render me unconscious. Wow. My parents had more or less abandoned me, but I guess this miserable new development managed to move them to pity. They decided to send me to America for a heart transplant operation. Personally, I wouldn't have minded just dying. But it seemed like those two wanted to feel like caring parents, so I decided I might as well go along with it. Things moved along behind my back. Large amounts of money traded hands, although I didn't know the details. They didn't tell me much of anything about the donor, and I wasn't particularly interested either. All they said was I'd be receiving the heart of a brain-dead girl of the same age as... Oh no! That's her, isn't it? This sucks. It's her, isn't it? I'm sure it must have been a really big, complicated operation, but since that day on the rooftop, I've been living like an empty husk. I can't really say it felt like much of an ordeal. Oh, wow. They carried me off on an airplane to a place where I couldn't understand a word anyone was saying. The doctor put me under anesthesia, and I fell asleep. Before I knew it, I was right back in Japan. It really did seem to happen in a blink of an eye. I didn't have time to feel much of anything. That's some heavy anesthesia, goddamn. My procedure was apparently went about as smoothly as possible. They'd pumped me full of immunosuppressants to prevent my body from rejecting a new heart, but I recovered quickly without any side effects. It didn't even feel particularly strange having another person's organ inside my body. Sometimes I almost doubted whether they'd really operated on me. Of course, just touching the scar on my chest was enough to convince myself it had to be true. But really, what difference did it make either way? The lump of flesh inside me constantly thumping away was different from the one that had been in there yesterday, that was all. Nobody was going to care, nothing important had changed. Yeah, you still got the life around you. My doctor celebrated my remarkable recovery from the surgery as a miracle. So enthusiastic, you might have thought my good fortune was his own. My parents had relieved expressions on their faces as well. Expressions that seemed to read, now we won't have to worry ourselves about this girl anymore. This is heavy to read, wow. Wow. The many months I had spent in various hospitals came to an end, and I began to recuperate at home that was when the first signs of the change began to appear. Apparently I was saying uncharacteristic things to my parents. I was talking and behaving in ways I usually wouldn't, almost as if I'd become a completely different person. So after the heart transplant is when it happened. My parents were incredulous at first, half suspecting some kind of elaborate prank. But as they knew, I wasn't exactly a practical joker by nature. I wasn't consciously aware of any of this. My alternate personality came at the price of my gaps in memory. Maybe I was sleepwalking, or turning into a different person without even realizing it. So, she didn't subconsciously bring this on? Or did she? A doctor diligently studied my brain activity and asked me all sorts of questions, but in the end he could only offer a vague conclusion. This phenomenon can't be explained by modern medicine. Nope. Ultimately, the adults decided that the powerful psychological impact of losing a friend in front of my eyes had led to changes in my personality. There we go. I was right. It's split personality disorder. But I didn't really care either way. I responded with a disinterested, "Oh, is that so? Good to hear." The gaps in my memories became frequent, and as time passed, they grew longer, harder to ignore. The other me, who showed up in these chunks of lost time, seemed surprisingly competent. From what I gathered, she was much more sociable than I was, and a lot better at schoolwork as well. Oh. One night, I noticed dinner was a little extravagant. Dad smiled across the table and told me it was a reward for trying so hard at my studies lately. It was kind of a strange experience, but I didn't really mind. So ever since she started having these things, her life got better. Like, with the people around her. I mean, if things were going smoothly, who cared if I remembered doing the things I was being praised for or not? As this pattern continued, I found myself acquiring a number of friends as well, of course. I had gotten to know them during the blank spaces in my memories, so I didn't really know what sort of people they were. Without any effort on my part, lots of people began greeting me in a friendly tone on the road to school. After saying hi, they'd usually ask, "What's wrong? Not feeling so good today?" Seems like they saw the usual me as the sick Michiru, and the person who showed up in those blank periods of lost time as the normal, cheerful Michiru. Oh wow, okay, it's making sense. It's making sense. And the father doesn't even know what's going on either. I was lying down in my room one evening when Dad stopped by to check up on me. Does the father not realise that this personality might not be her? Come on! Not knowing what else to do, I forced a strained smile onto my face.
明日には元気になっているさ。今日のお前とはさようならだな。
Oh, okay. Oh, that's... Yeah, this is very heavy. Sorry, I'm needing a moment. Smiling, Dad left the room and closed the door behind him. And all of a sudden, an image flashed into my head. An image of a girl frozen in flight. It was the girl who left me so abruptly. My best friend who'd abandoned this world. Her final goodbye echoed inside my head, rebounding off the walls of my skull. The word was terribly sharp. Every time it clanged against the bone, it felt as though someone was drilling me open from the inside. Did you two at all communicate? Like, why have you never tried to communicate with this Michiru? Like, write in a book, or make notes for each other? Trembling with fear and pain, I dove into my bed in search of refuge. Greasy sweat broke out of my forehead. I swallowed a few of the pills my doctor prescribed, pulled the blanket over my head and squeezed my eyes shut. If I can get past this, I'll become the cheerful Michiru again. I can't break down now. I silently repeated those words to myself. And soon enough drowsiness wrapped me up in a thick, sticky cocoon, blanket and all. Finally, I'll be able to sleep. I'll pull through after all. It was just as those thoughts were running hazily through my mind, just as I stood on the border between reality and dreams, when I heard the unfamiliar voice from outside my blanket. I'm sorry.
大丈夫だよ。安心して。心配しなくていいんだよ。
Whoa, okay, here we go. So they did communicate. I didn't understand in the slightest how this was supposed to be alright. Hearing the voice of some strange woman as I tried to fall asleep really didn't seem to qualify. She knows. Damn! The instant I heard those words, I felt my heart pound violently. A sharp, white-hot pain spread from my chest throughout my entire body, as if travelling through my blood vessels. I remember the doctor offhandedly mentioning a phenomenon known as cellular memory. In rare cases, patients receiving heart transplants had seemed to inherit aspects of the previous owner's tastes or memories. There we go. Her best friend's heart is what's keeping her alive. Wow. Maybe it's true. Maybe it had happened to me. This wasn't anything so minor. The former owner's entire personality had slipped inside me, complete and distinct from my own. And now she was talking to me, declaring herself my best friend. I wasn't able to put up with that. Another best friend was the last thing I wanted. Throwing off the covers, my pulse pounding in fear of my own body, I shouted at the disembodied voice. I couldn't even tell if this was reality or some insane nightmare. My terror escalated into frenzy. I ripped out clumps of my own hair, bit my own arms, and kicked things all over the room until my feet bled. Oh, wow! But it wasn't enough. I grabbed a box cut from my desk, grasped it tightly in my hands, and listened carefully, trying to figure out where the voice was coming. Ah! Oh! Oh, no, 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 no. Okay. The voice was the cause of this pain. It flowed through my body with the blood thumping out of my heart, bringing agony with it. I had to get that voice out of my body. Oh! Oh my god, with that thought I cut my wrist with the blade, trying to drain the voice out of me along with my blood. But no matter how my arm bled, the voice remained securely inside my body. In that case, I had no choice. I needed to uproot it directly. I need to get rid of that foreign entity pulsing away inside. She tried to take her own heart out? Oh! She tried to kill herself. I pointed the blade at my own chest and stabbed as hard as I could. It wasn't the sharpest blade, but it broke the skin easily enough. Slowly it gouged its way through my flesh, just a little further and I reached the heart. The invasion would be over soon. I'd be rid of the voice. I felt relief washing over me. Just then, I smelled that distinctive mixture of cigarettes and strange women, and realised that my father had entered the
どう
room.
したミチル
Before I
な
knew
ぜ
it,
だ
before I knew it, my room had become a disaster scene. The shattered and torn remnants of my belongings stained dark red with splashes of fresh blood. The box cutter fell from my hands and hit the ground with a dull thunk. The sound abruptly brought me back to reality. Dad's familiar face was so contorted that he looked like an entirely different person. I had to smile. I had to reassure him. But different words came out of my mouth.
ねえパパ、私
Kiyokuru.
壊れちゃったの。
Am I broken? Am I broken? Dad hugged me closely for the first time in many years, but it was very different from that girl's embrace. Even though he was holding me close, I could feel a vast chasm looking between us. That very night, I was admitted to a new hospital. Not that I had any choice in the matter. It was very quiet there. All of the patients were tranquil and sedate. Sometimes I felt as though I'd wandered into some forgotten corner of the afterlife. There were times when I found their constant, unchanging smiles frightening, but I got the idea soon enough. Basically, it was a place where you could live without getting tangled up in your emotions. A mental ward? You could pass time peacefully, thinking about nice things. To put the opposite spin on it, in a place that you weren't allowed to think about anything else. The medicine they gave me there made my mind feel pleasantly clear. My other personality stopped emerging entirely. It was like living inside a tightly closed music box. Boring, but very peaceful. I stayed in there for a long time. I didn't talk with anyone, for the most part. I just stood quietly by the wall, trying not to stand out. Trying to shrink myself down to the point where the world would overlook me. But one day I tripped on the leg of the chair and fell to the ground. That had never happened before. So I wasn't sure what to do. Fortunately, no one insulted me or yelled angrily. Instead, a few patients nearby put their hands in their mouths and giggled softly in amusement. Oh, that's scummy. That's scummy. I get a little laugh if somebody trips over, but you're in a mental ward. You're in a mental ward and you're laughing at a mentally ill person falling over. Well done, dickheads. Well done, nurse, dickheads. Oh, no, they're patients. Sorry. Patients. Not... Why am I thinking nurses? Why did I read that? Sorry, my bad. I misread. Badly. I liked hearing that sound. I lying there on the ground. An idea occurred to me. Maybe I fell on purpose. I could make people laugh again. Next day, I tripped again and again. People who noticed laughed a little. After that, I deliberately spilled a glass of water, and once more I heard the pleasant sound of laughter. Emboldened by my success, I
勝
spoke.
手にこぼれるなんて変なコップ。
More people laughed than before. Their voices were warm and gentle. This is where she got the idea of the tsundere personality? Was the hospital? Not from the friend? I found a way to make myself useful by devoting myself to clowning around. I could at least make others smile. From that day on, I acted out a sillier version of myself, an exaggerated funny caricature of me, and I sustained myself on a sugary sweet diet of laughter. Ain't that a description of Michiru? Alright then, from now on, I'll go this way of life. Pretending didn't bother me. It was worth it to do something for other people. It was worth it to have something to live for. Nobody had appreciated me before because I wanted them to like the real me. Problem was, the real me wasn't any good, so I might as well just pretend. This kind of gets me, this fruit, like on a personal level, badly. I had horrible teachers in the very first school I ever went to, which included my nursery teacher and my year 2 teacher. I had people who treated me like I didn't exist in school for years and also bullied me for the sake of it, so much so that I never wanted to keep going to school at all. And me having that moment of wanting to be the clown to make other people laugh, I also had that moment. That was in year 7 or 8. Then after that it all went south. So I really do relate to Michiru's backstory on a higher level than I actually expected. Like, wow. And also, I have a few friends who had committed suicide, so... Alright. But no, it's just like, this route kind of speaks to me on a personal level, so sorry about that. Let me continue doing this. All I had to do was act out the most convenient role. Force out the most convenient emotions. Become someone who put a smile on people's faces. Even if that meant the real me disappeared entirely, I didn't care. I was a little anxious about whether someone as stupid as me could even act convincingly, but I had no choice but to try. Among the patients, I gained a niche as the weird but funny girl. Hennako. As I grew, Hennako means like weird girl, because the kanjis. There we go. Yuusha, Japanese lesson of the day. As I grew into the role, I became a more lively. In time, the doctors decided I was on my way to a full recovery and politely ejected me from the hospital. Politely. And then you came here. I lost my place in the world, but my parents soon found me another. Apparently they had heard somewhere or other about this special school that only gathered students with complicated circumstances. I was enrolled in Mihama Academy as soon after my return. I kept right on playing in the clown in this school. I thought it would be nice to keep everyone laughing, and in fact, that's just how things turned out. The days rolled up past pleasantly enough for the most part. But every once in a while I'd abruptly remember that this, too, was nothing but an artificial make-believe world. When everyone laughed together, I wasn't smiling, from the heart. And over time, my uncertainty grew. I didn't want to lose what I'd found here, but I didn't want to grow dependent on it. The more I pretended to be someone I wasn't, the less I understood what I wanted to do. Did an imposter like me really belong here in the first place? It felt like I was living in an antlion's pit. There was nowhere else for me to go. No way out of the rut. All I could do was struggle not to fall. Wow.
それが私なの。
I'm going to end this episode here. No, let's finish this bit of text. Let's finish this. Having delivered her lengthy story in one uninterrupted sitting, Michiru finally pauses, her face lined with fatigue.
薬で自分の知らない自分を抑えて人の顔色を伺って生きているのが私。そんな私を抱いてくれてありがとう。
Don't say something like
ごっ
that.
こでも恋人のふりでもしてくれてありがとう。
Wow.
私幸せなのかもって勘違いしそうになっちゃったけど全部嘘だって分かってるし大丈夫。
You think Yuji would just sleep with anyone?
ユージに抱きしめてもらってる時キスしてもらってる時今が終わらなければいいのにってずっと考えてた。
Whoa.
でも終わっちゃうんだよね。いつかは離れちゃう。怖いねそれって。
That's why you have to make the most of what you have here and now. I mean, that doesn't mean like go crazy with everything. What I mean by that is that's why it's best to take everything you can now with the people around you. Do it to the best of your ability. Scratching my head, I search for words Michiru needs to hear. For the words, sorry. They prove surprisingly easy to find. What you need right now isn't this fatalistic pessimism. It's medical treatment. Your problem's too complex to face on your own. Go to a hospital and have the professionals diagnose you. Then work slowly and surely toward getting better. I think I understand the general outline of the situation. The memories of her organ donor have influenced Michiru's mind, or so she thinks at least. It's not a common phenomenon, nope, but apparently it's not entirely unprecedented either. Whatever the case may be, what the girl needs is appropriate treatment in an appropriate setting. Oh yes.
どうしても病院に行かなくちゃダメ。
I'd strongly recommend it. I doubt they'll keep you there longer than a week for an examination like this, and I'm worried about you.
心配。
There we go.
本当なら嬉しいな。
Yeah, if you mean it, then that makes me happy. Why would I lie? I didn't dislike that make-believe game of yours. I probably could have found another way to occupy myself, but spending time with you was, well, enjoyable.
本当に
Yeah. Yes! Yes, Yuji! Nice! I'm not lying. How many times do you want me to say the same exact thing?
ごめんなさい。だって私といて愉快って思ってくれるなんて嬉しくて。
Wholesomes now. I like this wholesomes right after that. I don't want you to disappear on me, Michiru. I'd find that unpleasant.
困る？どうして？
That's because he loves you. This is seriously the last time I'm going to repeat myself, because the time I spent with you wasn't half bad.
うん。
I take Michiru by the shoulders and look her straight in the eyes. You're living in the present, Michiru. Don't let yourself get caught up in the past. You can't fix it. That's what I have to do of mine every single day. I've got so many things that have happened already in my past. I'm only 22, and I've already had loads of things happen in my past. But I accept that they happened, because if I try and pretend like they don't, am I really living as myself, or am I ignoring the things that I can't accept from myself? Is the way I think of it. What's done can't be undone, but the future's still yours to shape. Incredibly obvious, yes, but it doesn't hurt to keep that in mind. Right now, your future is on the line. You need to take control of it. With that said, I kiss Michiru briefly on the lips. She turns down on her face in embarrassment and hesitates for a moment. Aww. Studying the floor as if deciding which words to pick off the ground.
ありがとう、ユージ。
Alright, now I want to give her a hug. In the end, she chooses extremely simple ones. Extremely simple, but not half bad. Yeah, a pretty respectable choice, actually.
ユージがそう言うなら、明日にでも検査に行く。早い方がいいでしょ。
Yeah, true. Tomorrow will be the best. True. Leave the arrangements with the hospital to me. I'll get something worked out.
ごめんね、迷惑かけて。
Keep hearing sounds around me. I don't know what's going on. You're not a nuisance, but if you're feeling guilty anyway, you can show me your gratitude once you're feeling better.
エッチなことで。
I didn't know about that. No. Don't be an idiot.
冗談。
Nice.
ねえ、できれば明日の朝、早くにここを出て病院に行きたい。
Oh, okay. I don't mind, but why?
他の子に見られたら恥ずかしいじゃない。だから、それだけ。5時でお願いします。
5 in the morning, eh? Sure, not a problem. For now, you should get some rest.
うん、わかった。ねえ、ユージ。私、
Oh?
ユキ。
Yuji no koto suki. Oh,
なんて。
she said it. 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 Yes. She said it. She delivers this line in such a subdued, quavery tone of voice that I can't help but laugh. Yeah, I got it. Alright then, I'll see you tomorrow.
またね。
Wow. Oh well, looks like I'm going to end up indebted to Chizuru yet again. I spend my walk to the principal's office ruminating on Michiru's story. Her tale's still fragmentary, and the plot's tangled. Deciphering it is going to be difficult. Might even turn out to be one of those books you can spend a lifetime on without ever finding a conclusive interpretation. Ooh, the open-ended stories, eh? But even so, I've decided to keep turning the pages. Why? Because I feel like it's the thing to do. Simple as that. And we're going to end this episode right here. Getting ready to go to the hospital with Michiru. God damn. This is a great part. I like this part. I am really, really excited. I just noticed the chapter name called Saying Goodbye. What the hell does that mean? Okay, now I'm a little nervous for the next part, but I am all out of time for this part. But yeah, to think that she just said, oh, I'm going on ahead, I'll see you later, as she jumps to her death. That's something. Pretty sad, actually. A young girl falling in love with an older man who cheated on his missus with her, and she fell in love with him. And I think she got to the point where she was trying to pressure him to stay with her, and that's when the violence started. Young girl being silly gets the harshest of punishments from life from somebody she loved, but they didn't love her back the same way because they made up their mind to stay with their missus and not with her. Love can be a scary thing. But anyway, I'm out of time for this episode, unfortunately. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you want any more from me. And I shall see you in the next video. So, guys, I will most certainly see you next time. I'm going to need to... a little bit of self-reflection, I think, for a minute. Oh, man.